What's up, all you pirates out there? Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more One Piece. The Straw Hat crew have found themselves in the land of the future, or so it would seem. While Luffy's gang, namely Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, and Bonnie, have found the ruins of an ancient robot, one just as advanced as anything on Egghead Island, but centuries old. How could this be? Meanwhile, Brook and Zoro have stayed behind on the Sunny, just in case everyone who went along with one of the Vegapunk ended up captured, since Vegapunk is a employee of the world government. Yes, one of the Vegapunks, as Vegapunk has split himself into 6 different parts, with each part taking up an aspect of his daily life, or anything time-consuming or a moral situation, everything that he feels. His more evil impulses, his angry impulses, his bodily impulses, namely eating, shitting, and sleeping, his need to invent, his need to research, and his overall need to be a just and good person. And that one, the just and good person, the one who is in control, Shaka the Good, ended up stopping an experiment from some of the other Vegapunks, who pitted the Straw Hats up against a Seraphim, a cyborg clone of Jinbei, which had the abilities of the Swim fruit like Senior Pink, a test that the other Vegapunks wanted to run. But Shaka put a stop to that, and posed the question to the Straw Hat that the land of the future was not so. In fact, the same technology that Vegapunk has come up with was already made thousands of years ago. The land of the future is the land of the past. What does this mean? Join me as we discover the secret, won't you? Alright, wait. What? I'm only just looking at that title now. One Piece Chapter 1066, The Will of Ohara? I didn't put it together that maybe... Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Dumbass me, didn't he actually put it together that when Shaka said it was a land of the past, that would have something to do with Ohara, who researched the past, the Void Century. Oh, man. Oh, okay. We pick up with the Germa Kingdom, with the Germa siblings arriving with Caesar. It's Germa 66's an Emotionless Excursion, Volume 23. Germa returns with an added bonus. I actually thought this cover story was going to be done after we had the whole situation with Kuzan and Van Augur obtaining pudding, but I guess not. I guess we're going to see Caesar meet Judge for the first time in a long time. Or, wait, Caesar wasn't part of Mads, was he? I don't remember. Regardless, let's jump in. We pick up in the Labo phase, where the big stuff gets created. The Straw Hats say to Shaka, who's locked them in place by their boot. What's that supposed to mean? That long in the past? There used to be a futuristic city just like this one? Shaka says, only in theory, as far as I know. There was once a man who gave his life for archaeology and brought that kingdom's existence to light, and that timeline matches up with the period in which a certain machine discovered elsewhere was originally produced. A certain machine? Pluton? Robin questioned, would that machine happen to have been made during the Void Century? This catches Shaka's attention, as he wonders, how much do you know exactly? Nami questions, Robin, you know about this? Shaka explains to Robin, I realize this may be painful for you to remember. Your hometown of Ohara was leveled by the Navy's buster call 22 years ago, after all. I suspect this was because Ohara had discovered the existence of that particular kingdom. This puts it all into light. Okay, the dots had never quite been connected for me on just the Revolutionary Army and their association with Robin. I figured it was something like this because they knew the truth of the world to some degree. But with this, Vegapunk's association with Dragon, and now knowing about Robin or Ohara and all that, it puts it all clearly into light. Shaka goes on. The Void Century, as it is called, is the history of a war between this extremely advanced civilization of the past and a group of 20 kingdoms. The 20 kingdoms won the war and later developed the world government, creating the world that we know today. And in order to ensure that the ideals of that ancient kingdom could not be passed down, they erased all traces of it from history. The Straw Hats are all shocked, and I bet every One Piece fan is just over here like, Yeah, we kind of figured that much out. But we're kind of in the same boat as Rob, and it's just like we've been paying attention to the lore, so it's just like, yes, okay. But Nami is mortified, saying, what? How could that be? So is Usopp saying, huh? What? Is that really true? Frankie is just kind of tickled pink, saying, whoa, talk about a tale packed with romance and mystery. He's just talking about One Piece in general. Sanji says, hang on a second, Vegapunk. Doesn't that mean that everyone who's learned about this? Shaka just says, well, will be eliminated. Yes. And he says, why are you telling us then? And of course, Usopp particularly freaks out, saying, I heard him say it. Forget all of it, Usopp. You didn't know anything. You didn't hear anything. As he just starts slamming his head into the ground. But Shaka says, I told you, it's only a theory. But Nico Robin, if Ohara was indeed wiped out over this theory, wouldn't that mean that the government has essentially admitted that it is true? Ooh, I like that. Smart. It's like the fact that you want to kill me tells me that I'm right. Robin questioned Shaka. In what capacity are you speaking here? The scholars of Ohara had to perform painstaking research on precious ancient texts to arrive at that theory. With your status, can you learn the truth straight from the government? Shaka tells her no. Whether affiliated with the government or not, the result would be the same. Even I would be eliminated for speaking about it. Usopp freaks out, saying, I don't want to hear it then. This is torture. Just let us go. Shaka doesn't answer him though. But Robin wants answers. In that case, how did you learn about the ancient kingdom? All the texts, the library that Ohara compiled, it's all... But Shaka turns to her, saying, the will of Ohara still lives. The events of that day shocked the world. The island of scholars, Ohara, the most knowledgeable place in the world, destroyed in the course of a single night with only one little girl left alive, for the crime of being a fanatical sect of scholars seeking to overturn the world government itself. Several months after it happened, I took a trip to the charred remains of Ohara. It's a punk hazard ship, P8. I'd known the great archaeologist Dr. Clover in life, and thought it appropriate to pay my respects to his memory. I was wondering, so he knew Professor Clover. Robin says, you knew Professor Clover? What the hell? Is that the silhouette of the actual Vegapunk? Ugh, what the heck? Is that his neck or his head? I don't think I'm gonna like how he actually looks then. What the hell? I'm sorry, I'm like getting a look at what is the silhouette of Vegapunk, and it is kinda creepy to look at. It's probably his head because he's a genius. Oh no. I think I'm gonna just stick with the other Vegapunks then. Shaka explains he was an adventurer who obsessed over the Void Century and traveled the world in search of rare tech. Clover was arrested by the Navy and broke out of prison 10 whole times. It made him the most famous archaeologist in the world. What? Clover was a badass in the day. Hell yeah. Eventually, other scholars were drawn to him in his quest, and Ohara became a sacred land for archaeology. Their brilliance was the cause of their tragedy. I set foot on Ohara, where even the tree of knowledge had been burned to the ground, and what I saw stunned me. It's the thing everybody had been saying for the longest time. They threw as many books as they could into the lake in the center of the island. And it was always a question, like, someone had to have come by and found that, right? Sure enough, Shaka says the lake in the center of the island was full of massive collections of books and papers of all kinds. I suspect that as the Buster Call burned down the island around them, the scholars of Ohara made their final stand and died protecting the fortune they wished to leave behind for the future. Dang. Ignorant soldiers would not have been able to recognize the value of what they were seeing. Ohara won. When I saw and understood what had happened, it left me helpless to stop the tears from coming. God damn. Oh shit. I'm getting emotional. It's just like, yes. It wasn't for nothing, Robin. Oh man. Freaking, I'm tearing up just thinking about that. Cause, it's like something that I knew about for like, over 10 years now. Cause the Robin flashback and all that was around the time when I was like really getting into One Piece. I started from the beginning, but I had fully caught up by the time we had gotten to Water 7. And it was Robin's backstory was the first like backstory I kind of had played out for me to a certain degree. And I just remember that tragedy and the misfortune, but I always remembered they threw those books. They were so determined to throw those books where there was water so that it would be preserved to some extent. Sure enough, it was. You see Robin tearing up, remembering the memory of Olivia, who was hugging her child, saying, "Please take care of Robin. Make sure she escapes from the island. I still have things to do here." And little Robin crying out, "Mother, I don't want to leave you. I'll stay here with you." While the scholars are just throwing all the books out, saying, "Save the books, throw them out the window." But with Robin and Olivia and Saul, Olivia says, "Robin, history is humanity's greatest asset. We cannot give up on the future of the world." Man, I haven't seen Nico Olvia in so long. And as Saul takes Robin away, with her crying out to her mother, Olvia tells her, "Be proud, Robin. Your mother..." Oh wait, it's Saul telling her, "Be proud, Robin. Your mother is noble. Ohara fought against the world." And Robin's crying. Everyone doesn't seem to understand what he's telling her. As you got Frankie saying, "Hey, what's the big idea making Robin cry, stupid helmet?" And Sanji saying, "You're gonna get it, Vegapunk, as soon as you release my shoes." Like, no, you guys, he's telling her something wonderful. Come on. They're not understanding the importance of what he's saying. That's frustrating, but I understand now. Robin asks, "Vegapunk, just as you suspected, Ohara uncovered the existence of the ancient kingdom." Vegapunk simply says, "I see. Then it is the truth." Robin asks him, "Where are the books from the lake now?" Shaka tells her, "I wanted to take them back to Punk Hazard with me, but if my superiors had heard about it, all would have been lost. The truth is, I encountered quite the combination of people that day." Oh, are we getting a full flashback? Are those giants? Okay, let me just read it. Ohara, West Blue, 22 years ago, months after the Buster Call incident. Is that Vegapunk? He looks like friggin' Einstein. His tongue sticking out. Oh god, he's got a giant head then. Oh no, I don't want him to have a giant head. Vegapunk says, "Who's here at the ruins?" It looks like he's been crying, mourning Clover. He says, "Giant?" And you see a few of the giants. Is that Haruden? And Gerda? Wait a minute. That's totally Haruden. Yeah, they're fishing up all the books. Saying, "Alright, lift it up." Vegapunk thinks to himself, what are giants doing here? And what do I do now? Do they understand the value of these books? A figure appears behind Vegapunk saying, "It's been a while. Hello, Vegapunk. Not that I had to guess it was you thanks to that head of yours." Oh god. He's got like a million head. Not a 5 head, not a 4 head, a million head. Vegapunk turns and says, "Is that..." Oh god, yeah, his head is huge. He is all head. Dragon, huh? Honestly, I almost didn't recognize him without the tattoo. He has a band on his leg that looks like the tattoo. Monkey D. Dragon, captain of the Freedom Fighters, age 33. So currently he's 55. Dragon's a lot older than I thought he was. And Dr. Vegapunk, director of Punk Hazard Lab, age 43. So currently Vegapunk is 65. Not too old. Old enough that you call him an old man, but isn't he like then around the same age as Garp? Maybe a little younger? Vegapunk says, "Dragon, what are you doing here?" Dragon says, "I'd ask the same of you, Vegapunk. Somehow your head has grown even larger." Oh god. I knew old Clover as it happened. Is he part of that? Is Vegapunk part of that same tribe like Strawberry and Fukurokuju? It's amazing that I remember that name. Where their heads grow with sadness and stuff like that. I heard that from the SBS. And you have Vegapunk and Dragon talking. Dragon saying, Dragon says, "I knew old Clover as it happens." Vegapunk says, "Ah, you too." Dragon says, "Well, he had a way of trotting around the globe, didn't he? The idea that he would try to destroy the world." Vegapunk says, "A bad joke, or of a bad joke of a cover-up." The layout of those words are kind of weird, wonky. I get the feeling that Vegapunk's design is based off of that old picture of Einstein where he had the tongue sticking out and the frizzled hair. Dragon asks, "Are you curious about the giants too?" "They're not thieves. I already looked into it. They've come from Elbaf, it seems, and they know what those books down there are worth. Their captain was a strange man, all covered in bandages. He said Ohara gave their lives to save this asset of humanity. We can't let it be erased from history. Is Jaguar D. Sol still alive? I had wondered that sometime. Is it possible that Kuzan faked Sol's death? I'm starting to get that feeling. Covered in bandages. Dragon continues. It's a good thing that your world government didn't figure it out and come back to destroy the books that remained. Vegapunk takes offense, saying, now, just a moment, I'm not. But Dragon continues, saying, it made me sick to hear the news that you're a government lapdog now, when you were too good to accept our offer to join the freedom fighters. So they're freedom fighters, but they haven't become the Revolutionary Army now. Or yet. Vegapunk is angry, saying, don't be stupid. What would my intellect and expertise achieve within an impoverished military force like yours? There's the Lilith part of his mind. Dragon says, yes, I know. You are always honest to a fault. Vegapunk says, the world government is a massive organization, and within the Navy in particular, there are many responsible people to be found. Don't lose sight of the goal, Dragon. Okay, so they're fighting the same battle but just two different ends. Is it possible that Vegapunk is also part of Sword? Maybe. Dragon says, I know. But I'll admit, this one really shook me. For the crime of speaking their minds to the cruel, unfair force that is the law, a group of powerless academics were obliterated by extreme violence. But I will create a military force that can actually fight back. Oh, Vegapunk says you will. Despite your hatred of war. That kind of explains why he's so pissed off all the time. He's doing something he absolutely hates. Waging war. That kind of explains his personality a bit. Dragon says, just watch, Vegapunk. I'll change the world. I'll see to it that Clover's death and Ohara's will don't go to waste. That really puts into perspective why he also took in Robin. Because, he a student of Clover. Hell, maybe he did know Nico Olvia. I wonder. There were rumors that maybe Dragon was Robin's dad. And he would have been within their age range when she was born. He would have been like in his mid-20s. We cut back to present day, as Shaka says, before that year had ended, he joined with Imperio Ivankov and Bartholomew Kuma to create the revolutionary army that now shakes the world to its core. Okay, so there's no way he did what he did to Kuma without having some form of backup. Nami says, I didn't realize Luffy's dad was so passionate. Usopp questions, did I hear you mention Elbaf? Robin wonders too. Dragon and Professor Clover had a connection too? And Frankie's just freaking out saying, my brain is overflowing, man. Why did Kuma help us? Why do you make him a cyborg, Vegapunk? And Sanji questions, Evil was a founding member of the revolutionaries? I am just realizing that almost everyone in this room has a connection to pretty much everything that Vegapunk just said. Jeez, all these threads. Shaka continues. It's true that we must not allow the government to discover that Ohara's library still lives. So out of personal interest, I traveled to Elbaf in secret and read all the books they rescued. In other words, all the world's mystery that Ohara deciphered are right here in my brain, where I have carried on the great work of researching. And we see a silhouette of Shaka traveling to Elbaf. It's Jaguar D. Sol. He's alive! Oh, man. Jaguar D. Sol is alive. Holy crap. I had wondered. I never said it, though. Because it was just like, no, I'm probably looking too deep into it, but it was always weird that Kuzan just outright killed him. Because it's just like, we saw Luffy live from being fully frozen. We saw Robin live after being fully frozen. And yet Sol died? Like, that's odd. Dang. I wish I had thought about this before. It makes so much sense. Again, because we've seen people fully frozen by Kuzan, by Aokiji, whatever. And they were fine after a while. Yeah, cold and stuff like that. But if you got them out of the ice quick enough, they were pretty much okay. Why not Sol? Why was him being frozen solid the end of him, because it wasn't. Dang, Odie, you got us good on that one. So many of us just wrote off Saul, and there was no reason not to think that he was still alive. Dang. And Robin, as she wipes the tears away, says, that giant captain, his name was Saul, wasn't it? And Shaka says, he is currently in hiding. I could not tell you more. Whoever he might be. he essentially said yes without saying it fully. Oh man. Seeing Robin just tearing up with happiness like that. Robin says, thank you, Dr. Vegapunk, for ensuring that Ohara's battle wasn't in vain. Shaka says, I simply engaged in areas of study. I engaged in all areas of study. It is the nature of a scholar. Oh wait, are there shoes moving towards him? So he still has them locked in place to follow him. Usopp says, the shoes are moving on their own. Shaka tells them as they follow unwillingly, I cannot release you, but you may come with me. I have something to show you. Meanwhile, in the scrap heap, Fabrophage Egghead. Luffy is climbing aboard atop the giant. Luffy says, hey Chopper, there's no place to ride inside it. Chopper says, ooh, it must be the kind that goes on its own. And as they all stand in front of it, Chopper says, then how about go? Go, robot! What's the command? Luffy says, no, I bet we have to call its name first. Go, Robonosuke. Go, Robo King! Bonnie kind of dismisses them, saying, you guys are such dumb little kids. That's not going to... Some kind of shockwave coming from inside the robot? As Luffy says, the robot exploded! Oh, that's weird. Yeah, you even kind of see it on the top. We see the Vegapunk of today. He doesn't have the massive head, but it's almost like it's cut open and there's the top of an apple on top? The fuck? That has to be some kind of device he's using to kind of project everything to his other body. But you see the old man Vegapunk slightly phasing through the bot, saying, help! I Rayquaza, help! I failed again, blast it! Someone, anyone! I Rayquaza, help! Did time-space get twisted somehow while I was warping? What? Warping? Warping? Okay, you know what? I wasn't sure about the theories that at some point One Piece was going to go to space after the series ends, but you're starting to make a lot of pushes towards the idea of One Piece going to space in the future. Luffy tries pulling Vegapunk out, saying, what's with this guy? He looks like Kinemon. Hang on, I'll save you. As Vegapunk says, I'm thinking, thanks. But Bonnie says, wait, that's... And after Luffy pulls him out, he says, thank you. You're Dragon's son, aren't you? I knew you were here. Thank you for coming. And you, Bonnie, how much you've grown. As Vegapunk starts floating off the ground and Luffy's like, what? Is he floating? But Vegapunk says, it's good to see you're flourishing. But Bonnie is pissed, saying, Vegapunk. But Vegapunk says to Luffy and Chopper, I see you're wearing them too. Look, the dome shoes have a hover function. Luffy and Chopper say, huh? As Vegapunk says, just push it in the button on the side, grab the lever, and push it down. Chopper and Luffy do as instructed, saying like this, and Vegapunk says, that's it! And then they go rocketing up into the skies, as Luffy says, oh, we shot up too high, woo! As Vegapunk says, I request our help! It's Dr. Vegapunk, the smartest man in the world, part of the SSG, the Navy's Special Science Group, which everyone called that name, leader of the SSG. See, Saul is the one situation where the he lived really makes a lot of sense. Because it's like, no, of course Aokiji didn't actually kill him. We've seen people survive being frozen solid. It's just like, just don't break him. I wonder, is he the man with the burn scars then? With Ohara being set in flames? Cause, that was totally Haruden and the rest of the new giant warrior pirates. Totally. And a massive amount of connections here. And with what Vegapunk can do, basically transferring his mind into other bodies, he had to have done that for Kuma, too. But he said warping. Is he experimenting with artificial devil fruit? Like the warp fruit, essentially? Man. That was a lot of info, but Saul is probably alive. Wow, Robin. Oof. Ooh, boy. I will say, I wasn't really prepared for the look of Vegapunk, though. But To be honest, I prefer him with the weird apple cutoff head instead of the giant million head he had going on. Just, no, big old head, no. Leave it to Oda to give him the wackiest design possible. How many people guessed he'd be based off of Einstein? It's such an obvious direction when you think about it. Probably gonna talk like, well, because I help, I failed again, that's it. Anyone, in case I hell, did time and space get twisted somehow while I was warping? Oh god, that's probably exactly how he'll sound, at least in English. But yeah, with his connection to the Revolutionary Army, he found some way to get Bartholomew Kuma taken care of proper. He had to. No, let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. This is a beefy steak to chew on. It's a lot of exposition, but man, the connection to Elbath. Oh, we're definitely going to Elbath next. Holy crap. I knew we had to go to Elbath at some point, but now we have even more of a reason to go to Elbath. Like, the reasons to go to Elbath have just stacked one after another after another after another. And the Revolutionary Army only fully existed, what was it, 21 years ago? Because it was 22 years ago that they were still freedom fighters, and then the next year they became the Revolutionary Army. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on the next video. But until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye.